It was very emotional to see people that you have groomed over the years and you are the one who had to make a decision to have them leave. The teams don't need you to be like a hero. They actually need you to be human. So you stop listening to your body, you stop listening to your mind. Everything just came at once and I felt like it just really wasn't sustainable. So I decided to let go.
Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Off the Record. I'm Crystal.
I'm Hazel. I'm Huiyan.
Alright, hi. Hi again. Really happy to have Huiyan here. And I think Crystal was asking me, so do you know Huiyan? I said, yeah, on LinkedIn. And that's also correct. I know you on LinkedIn and I've been following you for a bit. You've been doing a lot of content.
Yeah.
And of course, we chatted recently, right?
Yes.
There's so many questions I want to ask. So I just dive straight in.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So Huiyan, it's not easy for someone to actually run a team from 3 people to 300 people. That's crazy. When you were telling me, I was like, can't be true. Actually, I thought about it. Yeah, maybe she's right. That ceiling must be overwhelming. What would you say about that?
So the funny thing is, when I first joined my company now, we had a leadership fireside chat.
Right.
So the first thing I asked one of the leaders there was, I hear that your team is 200 people. How do you actually manage 200 people? Because to me, when I first joined, that was unfathomable, right? So I think over time, you kind of grow into it. But of course, the first time when I went from, 3 to 50, and then I had to take over a local department, which is, 300 over people. I think the first thing is you really need to identify your sort of key minus ones, in a sense. Yeah. I think back then, there were 2 points in times where I realized, hey, this is not the same as trying to manage a smaller team. Was one, I realized I had a lot of blind spots. So I realized that, a lot of the things that were said in meetings probably is not a full picture.
Right.
And I start hearing things from on ground through the grapevine. And you start realizing that, wow, I really have too many blind spots. And that's something to tackle, right? And I think the second thing was my body just told me that it wasn't sustainable. If I were to just be hands-on on everything and if I were the one to make every single small decision, that was just not really sustainable.
Right.
So I think that kind of taught me later on how to navigate around that a bit better as well.
Right.
Yeah.
When you spoke about this, right, the word that came to my mind is learning how to let go. Because I feel like for me, my biggest team ever was like, maybe the agency was like 45 people.
Yeah.
And itself is crazy, right? 45 people. Like, how do you spend that kind of time? Because it's not that you have 45 people, therefore you have more than 24 hours. You don't.
Yes.
Right? So I agree with you, that whole letting go and learning to say, okay, maybe I close 2 eyes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was there a specific moment or template that you had to follow in order for you to evolve?
Firstly, because it was a situation where it's not like I hired the teams of 300 people. I inherited the teams. So something that I had to do very earlier on was really kind of sit down with each and every one of the sub-team leads, as we call it,
Okay.
and really kind of deeply understand.
So you're sitting out every single piece.
Yeah, correct.
Ain't got that kind of time. But yeah, I sat with the team leads. I think back then I had like 10 of them and really deeply understand them first because you can't tackle everything at once.
Right.
So you kind of do it by layers a little bit. So that really helped me. I had like each person had at least like 1.5 to 2 hours, like deep dive session. I had a whole template and all that. And it's really not just about understanding their work, but also understanding about them as leaders, as, team members. And I think through that, I actually learned a lot about, what's the lay of the land. And you start to build trust.
Sure.
When you're not someone who get parachuted in and you just try to fix everything.
Okay, like instructions,
Correct, not too early.
understanding.
Yeah, so really understanding the trust, it starts to build
Start to build
a little bit from there on.
bit by bit, huh?
Bit by bit, step by step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Just now you touched on the word your body, right? Body is not just physical body, but it's also mental.
Mind.
Yeah, mind and everything. And I remember you sharing with me you actually had your first burnout.
Yes.
That scene over dinner,
Yes.
your parent, your mom was there.
My
Your mom
parents. Yeah,
checking on.
yeah,
Do you
yeah.
share a little bit of what that moment feels like?
Okay, so this was in my previous company. Back then, that was like more of a startup company, right? And I was the first Asia hire was a US company, so I had to sort of run the business in a way. And interestingly, that moment was after we clinched our biggest deal. It was like a bigger 7-figure deal at that time.
Right.
Some of my team members were on leave. So we got it. We were super happy, but timeline was short and we had to execute, right? So I remember it was a Friday night. I was working in my room at night, working, and then my mom just came to my room and my mom was like, "Hey, 不要吃饭了 dinner 啊 I remember I was very frustrated at the time. And I just turned to her and I just said, 我要做工了，做到死算了。 I just told her, yeah, I might as well. I might as well just work until I die, right? And I think she was very taken aback for obvious reasons.
Was it like, do you raise your voice? Do you like...
So I think at the time I was in a trance. You know, you had so many things in your mind, so much on your to-do list and so much stress. You are kind of out of your body. You were just in a trance, just trying to get things done. And literally, I just felt like, I'm just here to do work. Let me just work until I die, right? And my parents had to stop me and snap me out of it.
Because I'm also a mom. If my daughter say move away, I'll be like, wait, what's going on?
See, do you...
I mean, she was silent for a bit and then she came to me and basically she was like, hey, like, you know, are you okay? Then my dad came in. So they finally got me to sit on the bed instead of my desk. And yeah, they started to ask like, what's going on? Like, are you okay? Why are you so stressed out? Basically, it was just like they pushed a button and everything just released. Like a tsunami of emotions and a tsunami of tears. And I was like hyperventilating and essentially having a panic attack. I've never ever had that back then in my life.
It came because you mentioned this came after you closed the biggest. So why do you think it escalated at that moment?
I think because when you are chasing deals or when you are chasing sales, right, or chasing promotions, you are basically running on adrenaline. I think that was for me at that time. Right? You had a goal and we are like hustlers. I mean, I'm sure you guys are hustlers as well. You have a goal, you just want to hit it, you are running on adrenaline. So you stop listening to your body. You stop listening to your mind. And I think at that point in time is you got there, now, okay, you need to execute.
And the next thing immediately is like, who's going to do this?
Correct. Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? I need to be in this shoot, but then I need to go Japan to recce. Like, who's going to get it done? That.
Correct.
So I think it all just came crashing down.
Adrenaline, like, sort of like wore off. And as reality came in,
I realized, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you pitch for. So it just all came crashing down.
And through this incident, right, then, I don't know whether it's for good or for bad, you also then told me you took a part-time 7-month sabbatical.
Yeah, so at that time, I had a deal with my then boss in the US headquarters. So I said, I don't want to leave the company. It's like my baby. I see it grow. I really need a break, like a physical break, a mental break. So we had an agreement where I work 3 days a week. I'm not client-facing. As we all are in agency, we know where the stress is from. I'm not client-facing. I'm a back-end strategist, right? If you need me to go for some events in North America, you know, more than happy to go. And one of the biggest reasons was because I was having a long-distance relationship at the time with my now husband and boyfriend. He's in Vancouver.
Right.
So I wanted to spend time with him. Yeah. So we worked out the working hours 3 days a week. It worked out pretty well.
So what did that time teach you? You went from like this, right? Then you came down. What was that like?
Oh, the 7 months was amazing. I mean, money aside, the 7 months was amazing. Actually, during the 7 months, I didn't really go there with a plan of what I had wanted to do, which was great because it was really about spending time with him and his family. So when I went there, actually, I reconnected with a lot of dance friends because I used to have uni exchange there and we got to know dance friends. So we connected with them and that led me to start a K-pop dance channel, which is still on YouTube, actually. Go type my name and find out. But it's not active anymore. But basically, it helped me reignite my passion for dance. So I actually spend more creative time and creative energy into something that I feel happy about.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
And how did your boss react when you told him or her that you wanted this sabbatical?
Thankfully, I was actually very close to my boss. Yeah. And he knew how hard I was working and he actually knew my condition. So he was relieved when I told him I wanted a sabbatical or like a part-time sabbatical and not to quit.
I see.
So he was actually quite relieved that I wasn't quitting.
So he could maybe sense that like you were at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, you kind of slowly pave your way, right? Like in marketing, you need to tease a bit, you need to tease the issue, the new teaser already, so that when you have the big launch, it's not that shock.
I broke down today 3 times. I broke down today 5 times.
Now, com spacing, there was that. Yeah.
Right. You know, after we space out, and eventually you left.
Yes.
Correct? You eventually left and then you joined Shopee.
Yes, that's right.
Correct. But I also understand that Shopee, it's a really good organization.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people would celebrate for you being there.
Yes.
But there was also quite a bit of downside. As in, you had to experience challenges. Yes, you had to experience a major layoff.
Yes.
Which year was that again?
That was back in 2022. I remember very clearly because back then we were actually the first big tech to layoff.
Right.
And I think because of that, there was a lot of backlash. People didn't really understand why we had to do that, so on and so forth. But I think actually the company treated the people who were affected really, really well. Whether it's in terms of, severance, we actually created a whole collective to help people find jobs and do job matching with other HR entities. So actually there was a lot of support felt. Yeah, I think the most difficult part, I think, that you alluded to.
I try. So thanks for telling Cole. So actually, I would have imagined, because I was hearing your story, I said, oh my goodness, how did you go through that? Those people who left the team, right? But you said, no, hang on, Hazel, that's actually something even bigger that I have to face, which is coming back to the office.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And looking at however number of people left in the organization, what was it like? People was looking at you and say, okay, now my colleagues on the left and right are not here anymore, and I still have to do this amount of work. What was it like for you as a leader?
I think firstly, it was very emotional to see people that you have groomed over the years and you are the one who had to make a decision to have them leave. I think it was very emotional. But I think at that time, again, adrenaline. When it was being executed, I think everybody felt emotional. But for me, the leader in me felt like, okay, now I have to take care of the people that are left behind. I need to do this, I need to do that. Get everyone together. Let's reprioritize, our work, etc. And then at some point, one of my team members came to me and then she said, hey, Huiyan, you keep checking on everybody. Like, are you okay? Are you okay? Then she asked me, are you okay? So then I was like, oh yeah, am I? I'm not too sure at that point of time. Then I realized after that, in times of crisis, actually, the teams don't need you to be like a hero. They actually need you to be human, to feel like, even if you don't have all the answers, there is transparency, you are there with them to ride through the tides. And also, there is some form of clarity in which, okay, where are we going to go from here? What are some of the questions we ask ourselves if we need to prioritize our work in a very savage manner? Yeah. So I think that clarity and that human touch is something that I learned was really crucial.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would love to have such a person, I think I do, in my career, who cares enough to ask the leader, actually, how are you? Right? That's such a great question, right? Like, I'm sure as leaders, your headspace is always about my team. How should I, help them, support them? But yourself, actually, what is it like, given that you've done, you've gone through burnout? I mean, this itself is a big thing. How do you motivate yourself? How do you wake up every day during that sensitive period, I would say?
To be honest, it was really, really hard. In the first couple of weeks, adrenaline, I didn't realize how much it had hit me. After a while, when things start to die down a little bit, going back to business as usual, and you realize that, wow, I'm a marketing person, but I'm going to work every single day doing optimization operation. And because no budget, right? So of course, naturally, as a marketing person, then there's not too much creativity. Yeah, I mean, I know that's not an excuse, but of course, in comparison with what we were used to be doing. So naturally, I'm a very creatively driven person. So then my creative spark was stripped away from a day to day. So then I had to find different bits and pieces to kind of keep myself together and motivate myself, or else, my team can feel it. And I really didn't want that to happen. So I think number one great thing was I had a pretty good internal support system. The other department heads that we were actually very close, and we kind of see this camaraderie of
Being like tough times.
Yeah, exactly.
All coming together.
Yeah, correct. Which I felt like it was very nice actually at that time, because everyone's going through the same team. Yeah, who else knows your team better? So that was a very nice support system. I think secondly as well is really trying to find pockets of creativity in my life outside of work. Little things like I probably took on a bit too much, but I took on a alumni dance production, which I creative directed, a scene, I choreographed, and I, taught and we performed at Capitol Theatre. So that was really amazing from SMU. And then I opened a bubble tea shop.
I was waiting for you to tell me about the bubble tea shop.
Or rather, to be specific, I bought over a existing operating franchise outlet of a bubble tea franchise.
Are you a bubble tea lover?
I am. My husband is as well. He drinks a bit more than me lah, because I'm older now. Oh, I'm older than him. Oops. I'm older than him, so then...
Oldest here, so don't worry.
Yeah. So I cannot drink so much sugar, but we do love it. And actually, because I was very, very enamored by Cody Sanchez, and she talks about, buying over cash flow positive businesses, and she talks about, the sort of boring economy, boring businesses, which I know bubble tea is not boring, but it's kind of has been proven to be quite recession-proof in Singapore in a way. So I did that, and I plan to, do fun marketing stuff, some boba merch and all that to channel my creativity lah.
But the bubble tea, it's no longer
I sold it.
You saw it, right?
Okay, but it's a good thing, right, that you sold it.
I sold it because it wasn't working out in the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think obviously I was quite rash about buying over, and I was like pretty naive about the potential pitfalls in the longer term, right? I had it for almost 2 years. At first, I think first 8 months was great. I managed everything remotely. I learned how to make the drinks, and the staff was just operating on ground. All I had to do pretty much was, go there once a week, collect your cash, and do a lot of fun, Instagram stuff and whatnot. But later on, after the first batch of staff completed their contract, went back to Malaysia. It was such a nightmare. So hard to find the right people and to monitor them and train them again. And then after a while, equipment started breaking down, and then I got posted to the Philippines.
Ah, yes, that's right. You and your, yes, correct.
So everything just came at once, and I felt like it just really wasn't sustainable. So I decided to, one of the things that I let go.
Right. So you were trying to find like maybe creativity and fulfillment outside of work.
Yes,
during a tougher time at work, right?
Yes, correct.
And what do you gain out of it?
I think I realized that for a very, very long time, my whole persona and my whole identity has been tied to work. And I think that's why I've been so affected. When people got laid off, I had to take care of the team, so on and so forth. Because I felt it very personally. I felt like if anything happened to those at work, anything happened to the work itself, it's my fault because I didn't do something well enough. So then I think finding all the passions outside of work actually kind of told me that I'm a little bit more than just my work. I have other passions, I have a great family, I have all these fun things that I can do to fulfill my life. The pie is not just work and sleep.
So in many ways, you sort of also build community, right?
Yeah.
In that sense, your dance community,
Yes.
then trying bubble tea. Yeah. What you loved, but at the same time also get to experience running a business.
Yes, for sure.
Right. I think that's correct. And there's a third thing that I see you doing a lot now, which is your career big sister to the Gen Z. And I was just sharing with you, I have 2 Gen Z at home. I'm sending 2 of them to you very soon. But what motivates you to actually kind of already have your work, family, all of this, and then creating content right, for this specific group of people, holding events for them? What motivates you?
I think if you guys can kind of see a pattern now, I think at any point in my life, I needed some form of side project. So after I let go of the bubble tea shop, I needed another creative outlet, so to speak. And interestingly, end of last year, which was after I sold the shop, again, I felt, quite tired and quite drained with a lot of traveling. But then a lot of team members actually came up to me. And I had, they kind of came up to me and then they gave me like words of encouragement. And I realized that actually throughout all my years of leadership, I've been coaching and mentoring a lot of young leaders as well. Whether it's new leaders or whether it's your mid to mid-senior leaders. And a lot of them, after they leave the company, they actually still come to me for advice. So at that point in time, I figured, hey, why don't I merge content creation and I have a lot to say about leadership. Yeah, I have a lot to say about leadership and about the workplace and how to do it in an empathetic yet, impactful manner. And that's why I started creating career content this year.
And what's that, if I may ask? What's that goal at the end?
So I have a very strong belief, epiphany, earlier this year when I started this, that these days, when you talk about career resilience, it's not just about the job. Job security, to be honest, is a bit fleeting these days, let's just be honest. But career resilience is built if you have a very strong personal professional IP. This is a bit sort of looking back lah. Obviously, when I first started it, I didn't think so much. But now I start to feel the impact of it. People reaching out to me, they have the same issues. And I started doing coaching as well. So I think that's your professional IP. That's really your career resilience building, I feel.
And also a form of giving back, right?
For sure.
All these experiences that you have, so the younger people get to benefit from you.
Yeah. And I always tell, especially the younger ones, and now Gen Zs are becoming managers. Some have become managers. The whole workplace is shifting. And a lot of times I feel like we are not moving fast enough. So when I, kind of maybe take some of the younger folks out for coffee or for dinner and that I would pay for it, right? And they're like, no, you don't pay, we got make money. I was like, no, I can pay for it and then you pay it forward. So I want them to, kind of next time you see another young leader or, young fresh grad who want to give them some advice, that you pay it forward. So I hope to build that kind of community.
That's a really nice way of wrapping up the conversation, actually. Crystal, do you have anything to ask, add on?
I'm good. Like, I think what was interesting to me was when you said that, we felt like work was a big part of your life at one point, was your entire identity. And then you just found many ways to make that not your entire identity.
Yes.
That's what I am.
So conscious decision to do that. Yeah.
All right. With that, I think we are done for this episode.
Thank you everyone for watching this episode. We hope you enjoyed this session. If you did, remember to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.
Bye.